Hello, my name is Tall Grant, and I'm here to play Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise for you, specifically Learningway Seed number 3. This is the third in a series of seeds that are designed to help new Free Enterprise runners get familiar with the game, some of the concepts, some of the important things that we do, and how to play it. If you'd like to see the first two runs, the first two seeds, links will be included in the description below to explain where they can be found and to watch them, and potentially also download the seed and play it yourselves if you'd like to have a try at it. So this is the third seed in the series, and the theme of today is going to be what we call the hook route. In Free Enterprise, there are two different paths that you can use to get underground. One of them is the Magma Key, which you drop in the well at Agert, and it's a fairly free walk down. The other is by launching the Falcon. You do this through the story event where you go down the hook route, and in the vanilla game you would face the King and Queen of Eblan, followed by Rubicant, the Fiend of Fire. That tends to be a bit of a rougher fight because it's later in the game, and at Free Enterprise it can be pretty rough, but in a lot of more advanced flag sets you'll see the hook route available as an option, or occasionally sometimes forced. And so learning how to do the hook route is an interesting skill and takes a bit of thought, so I'm going to walk you through my thought process, my strategy for how we're going to do it, what kind of benchmarks we're looking for, and we'll see what kind of fun has been rolled for us at the end of it. So you'll see this is going to be a win game. I don't think I've shown this in Learningway yet, but when we complete the objective, we don't have to fight Ceromus, we just have to win. So everything we have is going to go into how do we find our way to get down the hook route. There's one quest for the Falcon, and that's it. And there's a force hook. That means that the only path underground will be the hook. The Magma Key will be gated behind either an underground check or a moon check for us to get there. No pass, relaxed characters, J abilities, and no dupes, so we can only take one copy of each character, but there's going to be a number of free characters, so we can build a pretty good party. Twildish, which means there's going to be some weighted loot, and I'll walk you through how we're going to do that and where we're going to go looking. Standard shops, standard bosses with the alt gauntlet, we can turn on and off encounters. Life, sylph, and backrow glitches are on. Basic kit, which will give us a little bit of stuff to get started. No adamants, we don't need to have them. We will get by with no adamant armor. The spoon is equipable, and we will have a spoiler for characters and bosses that was put on here to make sure that this seed would be not too big of a problem. So anyway, we're not going to worry about that. We're going to play it blind as if we don't know what's in here, which I actually don't. I was not the one who set this seed up, so I don't know any better. So here's our plan. Rose is a white mage, and as a white mage has a lot of utility. But there's one spell we're really going to be aiming for with her to protect us on the hook route, and that magic spell is Blink. Blink solves a lot of problems, it protects from a lot of damage, and it's going to mean that we're at about appropriate level when we attempt to go do the hook route. It's possible to dive the hook route at lower levels if you get lucky with bosses, but it only takes one really nasty boss to kind of cure you of that habit. So we're going to take a fairly conservative approach. Right now our plan is to take the checks as they come in the overworld. Once we're done taking those checks, we are going to go to Eblan Castle, take the 3 monster boxes to get Rosa up to Blink, and then hopefully have enough power to go down and do the hook route. So I think that's enough for basic overall strategy. What I would also like to do is check characters as fast as possible. So we're going to open by going to the Watery Pass, raising the hovercraft because we know that we're going to need it in a little bit, and we'll probably loot a little bit along the way. I believe that Edward will have an item, so we'll stop and check in with him. We'll loot in all 3 of those places to see if we have enough to get online. And if everything is good at that point, then we may just go ahead and start making checks. If we don't like how things are going at that point, we'll go looking for a few more characters. Alright, I think that's about it. Again, I've got my timer on, but I'm not actually going to run a timer tonight, so we'll just get that off. This is again about learning and walking through thought processes. So let's get this thing started in 3, 2, 1. Awesome. Okay, so Rosa can do damage with the right gear, but we'd like a big burly partner that can do a lot of damage and let her stand back and be a white mage. And Edward is probably not it with the pink tail. Okay, pink tail, and we'll mark we're going to mark a Pale Dim as a generic lunar boss for Sparkle in Barren Castle. Edward's not great. If we can find the spoon, he'll be a lot better, but he is very squishy, and he doesn't have the big strength bonuses that some of the big damage dealers do. So unless we get a little bit of help, we're probably going to let him walk, unless we can get a spoon or something for him. Alright, there should be a character for us in Watery Pass, so we're going to go there first, and we're going to do a little bit of looting back here. We're actually probably going to loot all the way back to the waterfall. It's going to take a little bit longer to walk out, which is sad. I like doing it better with Tella, but we're trying to stay out of Emblem Castle right now. Ether one's not bad. Drain Spear's a good dart if we see edge, and otherwise not really what we're looking for. There is a Quack Kid. Now the good news, ooh, Dancing Dagger. We can do stuff with that. So Palom is wonderful because about the time Rosa gets Blink, he gets Quake. And again, that's a really, really solid marker to have for you when it's time to do the hook route. That would be a Drain Spear. So that's 2 Drain Spears and a J item Firebomb, which is mediocre but could help us with with one of the chests later. Just a Star Veil and a Flame Whip back here, so not such good gear in here. The Dancing Dagger may be enough to get us through some trouble spots, though. But we had to come here anyway because we wanted the character, and so we just picked up some loot along the way, and that's nice. Alright, there's a free character in Damsion, as well as the hovercraft, which we're going to need to do our hook route, so we're going to go ahead and take a peek in here, and we'll go ahead and clean the basement out here as well. Again, the odds of gear in here are not quite as good as Evelyn Castle, but we're trying to save a trip to Evelyn Castle and save a little bit of time and see how good of stuff we get. Alright, what have we here? 50 gold, 110 gold, lots of gold. Dragoon Gloves, Dwarf Axe, Mute Dagger is nice. Tiara is really nice. That's really good defensive gear for a female character like Rosa. Even better for Rydia because it gives her a great spellcasting bonus. Fireclaw, Mute Bell, and Dragoon Shield. Okay, so some mediocre gear in here. Nothing that's like terribly great, but the Dancing Dagger is enough to get us off the ground a little bit, and Mute Dagger will work with quite a few people if we can find someone. In a pinch, even Edward can use it, but we're going to see if we can do a little better. Whistle for summoning the big Chocobo will probably be sold for some money. There's a Kmain. Kmain is great. Kmain can use that Mute Dagger. Kmain can scale up and be our big beefy protector that we're looking for. So that's awesome. Alright, so we've got our hovercraft. We've got a party of 4 characters. It's a decently balanced party that can probably do the hook route if we don't run anything else. So we're not going to check too much else. There's 2 more characters in Mysidia for us to look at, plus 1 on Ordeals, and we'll go check that out in a little bit. But this party is, I'm feeling pretty well balanced, and I think we can get Kmain through. Alright, so we're going to come here and check with Bedward, and we're going to do what's called the public treasury, which are the 9 chests in here that are available to anybody. We're going to wait to do the treasury until after we've checked with Edward, just in case he hands us the Earth Crystal, and we can open the big treasury too. There's our hook. Okay, that can save us a little time, but we are technically in go mode now. We can go try to finish the seed if we feel really good about things. So, let's go see if we can find a little bit more gear down here. The public treasury consists of this 1 pot, which had 1,000 gold, and then these 8 boxes in these 4 rooms. There's a private treasury, which is great. An illusion is great. Black sword for Cecil if we see him. Black armor for Cecil will be sold for money. Poison arrows, blitz whip, dragoon hat will look good on Kmain. Diamond hat, and diamond armor. Okay, so I think we've got a Mute Dagger and a Dragoon Shield for Kmain. Dragoon is great because it gives lots of elemental resistances, so that'll be good on Kmain. Dragoon Gloves for Kmain, Dragoon Hat for Kmain, and Diamond Armor, which is, Diamond's pretty mediocre, but it's good enough. Now, since we're here, we're going to take a minute and shop. I'm not too worried about the weapon shop or the armor shop here, but I want to see if there are items. So I see vampires in here, and the vampires are a great get. So we're going to get rid of some things we don't need. We don't need both these Drain Spears. We don't need this black armor or black sword. I'm not planning to use the Blitz Whip or this diamond hat. We have some money. We are going to go ahead and buy 4 vampires. That gives us some healing ability and a couple things we can do for the early checks when our party's not quite so strong. This second shop is easy to forget. They have Cure 2s and Star Veils. We'll take 10 Cure 2s. That should be enough to carry us through this seed. I think we had a Star Veil or 2 in our kit. If it was a big long seed, I would normally buy it. This lady has blocked us. If that ever happens to you, you can easily just pop in this building over here and then try to race out, and hopefully she doesn't get you blocked again. Alright, so here's our time-saving trick number 1. Actually, it's not even a time-saving trick. We have the pink tail, we have the means to turn the pigtail. There's no adamant armors turned on right now. So this won't result in us getting an adamant armor, but it's going to result in a fairly nice item, so we're going to hope that Kmain gets handed a big weapon he can use here. Because this could be an Avenger, it could be a defense sword, it could be a big Cecil sword, you never know. But let's see what we get for turning this in, because that could break the seed open for us. Yeah! Speaking of things that break the seed open. Alright, so Avenger Kmain is one of the best things you can have to start. For those of you who are not aware, the Avenger automatically inflicts Berserk status on Kmain. We're going to do one more bit of housekeeping here. We are going to take this hovercraft, and we're going to put it right here where it's ready for us to go on the hook route. Now, we are now making our way to Antlion Cave. We're going to do Antlion Cave because it's kind of a natural check and progression. Again, just following the vanilla routing is good, even though we feel really good about our gear, which we're going to fix. He can't wear a shield because he's always going to have the Avenger on. What we can also do is use this Dwarf Axe. The nice thing about Dwarf Axe, if you look at it here, with the you can press select and pull this up, you'll see that there's a little arrow symbol in yellow up next to where it says Dwarf Axe with the magnet. That means this is a ranged weapon. And so if we equip that ranged weapon on Kmain, Kmain receives a flag in the game that says he's in the back row. And when he's in the back row, he does full damage. Excuse me, when he's in the back row, he's protected from some damage as things go along. He also is going to do full damage to enemies from the back row, and even enemies in their own back row, because enemies have a row as well. There's usually a 50% accuracy penalty, and that is going to be gone. The game has a bit of a bug in how it was programmed, and this is called the backrow glitch. So we have permanently set Kmain to where the game thinks Kmain's in the back row, even though we've since then unequipped our Dwarf Axe. So now we're going to put Kmain in the middle. Kmain is going to be what we call our agility anchor, which means that the speed of everybody in the battle is going to be based off Kmain's speed. And there, again, the reason that the Avenger is so great for him is not only there a strength bonus and a vitality bonus, there's also an agility bonus to him. So he's going to be automatically berserked, and he's going to have this high agility, which means that when we see him in the fight, he's going to go very, very quickly, and he's going to hit things. So we're going to do a safety save. I feel pretty good about this fight, but unless we get one of a handful of bosses, Kmain should be able to just wail on this. So we're just checking to get a little bit of cash in case we need to shop. The Lilith Rod will help pal him out. Incidentally, if you didn't understand my comment about Kmain being our anchor or anything about agility, I have a video on how agility and anchoring works in Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise. I will include a link to that in the description below. It's also going to be in the playlist where this video will live. So check that out as well. But let's see how quickly our base level Kmain will go in this fight. The Magus Sisters. Could be a little bit dangerous, but I'm not too worried about it. Kmain should be fast enough to take care of damage. There he goes. Might take a minute and move our inventory. They have not yet taken a turn, and here's Kmain. So only one of them actually got a turn because Kmain is so much faster than them, and Kmain just completely slaughtered it. That Avenger is an incredibly huge find for Kmain. Okie dokie. So we're again just kind of checking key items. We're in go mode, but if we were doing a real seed here, this is something we would be checking on and going after to kind of build that. But also we're gaining levels and getting progression. And this is going to make the party stronger. Even with this Avenger, and even if we had an adamant armor, which we can't find here, this level Kmain will almost certainly not be able to do the hook route. He's just a little bit too low in hit points and a little bit weak. But by doing the progression, we're going to get him where we want him to be. We'll probably sell that as Sheriff for money. Rose will be a great white mage for us. Alright, we have no dupes on, so we're going to stop and check our character on Mount Hobbs. See if it's somebody we want. And if it's not, we will just move on. We could also, at this point, if we didn't like our party too much, go and check who the character was on in Mysidia. There's 2 of them to be had. But I like this party. I kind of like where we're going. There's a Cid. Okay, let's see what's up here. Lovely. These are skeletons, and this is an alt gauntlet. So we're going to try and speed this up a little bit, just for the sake of demonstrating here. This is really good kind of for getting experience and kickstarting us. So we'll kind of just get things going here. That firebomb's not a great item, but it got things done. You'll see that Palom's starting to get spells, Edward's starting, you know, everybody's going to get a little bit better from this. It's going to be a little bit slow, but we'll get there. Okay, so we found a dancing dagger. That's actually a really good weapon for Edward, not for actually attacking, but using this magical effect on it. We also got a silver hammer for Sid. It's not great though, so we're just going to let him sit for a minute and let Kmain win the fight. I'm not confident Sid will kill that with the silver hammer. But that dancing dagger for Edward is enough to help us contribute a little bit and take a few less turns in this fight with the Alt Gauntlet. So the Alt Gauntlet, if you've never seen it before, it takes the stuff that came in, a group of 5 different enemies that would occur around this area, and builds them into an encounter, so that instead of fighting a normal gauntlet like we would with the low-level enemies from the Fabul defense, we're just going to fight this group of enemies. Okay. That's 3. And again, Palom is kind of pushing up to where he's getting some useful stuff. He knows Stop now. That can be a very handy spell in the right situation. These gargoyles are good, but hopefully they don't get a turn at all. Edward becomes very quick, which is one of his few great attributes. He's a very high agility character. And he's able to get those dancing dagger shots off before the gargoyles get a chance to attack us, which speeds up the fight. This is the last fight. This is going to probably be a little bit longer, and we're going to prioritize killing the spirits because I don't think Rose has got good enough power to do anything, but they will all cast Fire 2 at us, so that the faster we can kill them, the less animations we have to sit through. We'll see if Sid can get one of them dead before they go. That's beautiful. Sid, it takes advantage of a weakness there. And we only have to see 1 Fire 1 cast. Again, Kmain doing full damage to that skeleton, even though he's technically in the back row. Kill the skin. And see if we can get the last skeleton down. Okay, our reward is the Sid, and the experience, but the experience is much more important. Palom is starting to get close to Virus, but we're moving our characters up closer to where we want to be, and that's really good. Alright, so next up on our list is Fabul. Now I will say this is Force Hook, and we know we cannot find the hook before we go underground, or the magnet key before we go underground. If you're playing a seed where you have a hook this early, but you have several checks, it's often very much in your benefit to go looking in these other checks, even Fabul that you might fade till after you get the pan, or at least go visit Yong in the Fey March, because it might have the magnet key, and it's usually worth your time to do that. Alright, I see cabins for sale. We should have 3. That'll get us through the seed pretty well. We check the item shop in case we find an item here that's going to help us get through a fight. And that'll make our life a little bit better here. Yes, we'll defend your crystal. Okay, King Queen Evelyn, this is a free fight, and we're just going to sit back and let Kmain take care of business. He's going to bring us down to the Hades. Once again, just taking a little opportunity to clean up my inventory a bit. Let Edward help clean things up, and then Kmain should... No, we didn't finish him. He's close to dead. 20 hit points away. Edward, you gotta roll better, buddy. Alrighty. Palom gets 2 levels. So again, they're climbing up toward that point. We want to get Blink on Rosa. That's kind of our get out of jail free to help us with the fights on the hook route. King of Evelyn has for us the Crystal. There's a free ether. Alright, so if I wasn't feeling good about gear, I would go over and loot the 4 boxes there. But with the armor that we have on Kmain and the fact that I'm planning to go to Castle Evelyn in the future, I feel like we're in good enough shape that we can move forward. We'll probably be looking for a couple things to put on Rosa and maybe Palom, but getting that gear is where we want to be. Alright, so we're going to make one other gear update, and that is that we've got a little bit of stuff we can put on Palom, and we'll do that right now. Specifically, we can give him a little bit better casting item. He has a regular rod right now. The Mute Dagger gives him that bonus in Wisdom, which is good, but the Lilith Rod is just as good and also lets him steal MP from other characters. So that tends to be really good, and we're going to stick that on him. He's got Stop. He is about, I think he's one level away from getting Virus, which is courtesy of that alt gauntlet. And when we have Virus, Palom will suddenly become a lot more useful of a character to us. Again, Ludicas run the way. That Cure 3 is handy. Cure 2 is not bad, even though we bought some. Okay, there's a free character here, and that character is Fusoya. We will be taking Fusoya because we have room for another character, and I think we're going to take our opportunity and get rid of Sid. I'm holding on to... I'm going to be holding on to Edward because I might find some utility for him, especially if we get the spoon. And Sid's not going to be doing a lot, particularly because he's slow. Now, I'm going to do this for safety. In a real race, I probably wouldn't because I'm a bit overconfident. Let's take a quick look at Fusoya and see what he has, because Fusoya learns 3 spells every time he levels in this setup to keep him from coming in at full power. So the best thing he's got here is Cure 2, the best thing he has here is Fire 2. So he is not what we'd consider fully online yet. But that's okay, we have Kmain, we'll use Fusoya sparingly to help us through this fight, and we'll see what we have here. Okay, this is a scary fight with the Avenger. So we're going to take a little bit of a risk here and see what we can do. Because if Kmain kills both the front orbs, then we have a problem. So we're going to let Edward get to work on the one in the back. That's the attacker, so the defender that heals is still there. So that's 500 damage on him so far. And that's half of it healed up. So this is called Plan Q, usually because you're casting Quake in here. Okay, we're at about 800 damage on him now. So we're kind of rolling along the way, but it's going to take about 4 Kmain hits to completely kill it. Now he's at about 600. No, to about 900. Okay, now he's going to randomly kill 2 characters before he brings other things back. So we're kind of be ready. In the meantime, he's about halfway dead. Palom's here to bring somebody back to life if we need him. We'll be okay with Fu down. That's no problem. And that's enough. We're safely through. That's a little bit of a risky way to play that, but it's the best I had with the weaponry. The other thing, it's a calculated risk to do it that way. The other thing you could usually do there is you can take the Avenger off of Kmain, put the Mute Dagger on and have him jump, but that tends to be a bit slower, and with the health there I thought we could get through without much problem with a little luck. It only got 1 globe at us, so that worked out pretty well. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and conserve life potions by casting Life 1 to bring Fusoya back, and we're going to go ahead and heal everybody up, and the reason is this next spot is going to be very quick and could have Ogopogo in it. We change our rows because we know this is going to be a backward attack ambush. But again, we have Fu, so the calculus is going to change a little bit here. That is exactly Ogopogo. That is why we healed. Alright, so let's mark Ogopogo. Let's see, who else have we seen? We saw Ogopogo. We just got done fighting with CPU. And let's see. Kmain should go in just a minute there. That's 700. Now, Ogo's going to have a counter here, but I'm not too worried about this counter because it's only so much magic power, and Kmain's going to be doing a lot of damage here. But it's, again, a percentage of everybody. We're going to put this Cure 2 on Kmain, but we don't need it. We are through the fight. The Avenger's doing a lot of good work for us. Okie doke. So this is normally a decent point to save, but since we've got a very powerful party and there's not a whole lot here that I think is going to cause us a problem, we're going to go ahead and just go forward without saving. About the only thing I'm really terrified about in here is Golbez, and that depends on how he decides to attack people. But with Kmain, Fusoya, and with Kmain, Fusoya, and Palom all being able to do a pretty decent amount of damage, we should be in good shape. The Rat Tail, we can turn that in and get another item. Might be something good, might be a key item, we'll see. There's Antlion. Kmain, I think, will one-shot this. Kmain, so close, buddy. Let Fu finish him off. Okay. So, we have got a pretty good setup going on right now, and we got stone on Fusoya, which is also really handy. The additional concern we have, though, is we can make Fusoya even better before we go down the hook route. He learns 3 spells every time that you defeat a boss with him. So what I think our plan is going to be, even though there's not a ton of experience or key item help, is for us to go take as many overworld bosses as we can before we enter the hook route. And if we get Quake before we go, that makes Fu very, very good. And it makes him almost ungodly good if we can get Nuke on him. And it solves a lot of our problems for what we need to do to the hook route and how much we can rush it. My initial plan was to completely clear Eblin until Rosa had Blink, but we might just let Fu sit in that role and get Kmain maybe above 20. Which, granted, if you look at it right now, they're at level 18 and 19. They're not too far from it, and when we go do Baron in a minute, that should put them in really good shape. Okay, so we have put off checking those Mysidia characters. We just kind of saved some steps because the party was good, the damage was good, and we felt really nice. But since we're going right by here, might as well take a quick peek and see what's inside. Really, this is looking for a replacement for Edward. Like Cecil, we'll take the guy. He's pretty good. Cecil and Edge. How nice. However, we are going to, since we're just doing the hook route, we are probably going to ditch Palom for Edge. It makes me a little bit sad, but that's what we do. So as good as Kane is with that Avenger, Cecil is probably going to be even better. And we're going to have quite a bit of power to go do everything. So, it stinks not having Palom, especially because he was getting close to Quake, but this is a little bit better party, I think, especially for what we have in mind. Okay, so we're going to take a minute, make a save. You'll see me cycling slots. That's in case I make a mistake. I can roll it back and go there if I wish to, or potentially split later. Illusions are good. We're going to take 5 of those. That costs an automatic blink. I've already mentioned blink is useful, and now we don't have to wait for Rosa to help us cast it. So let's see who the first boss is here. This is Officer and Soldiers. So there's another Palom in here who we're probably not going to take, but we're going to take these fights just to get more spells on Fusoya. Don't forget, Edge has magic. That's going to get us through this fight a tiny bit faster. You'll notice we also didn't equip Cecil with anything. That's because I'm not terribly worried about him just yet. I don't think this guy in the back's going to survive, but we'll do this just in case. Get the full experience and get a little bit more of a bump on Cecil here. If I was really trying to pinch pennies with this thing, I would be not taking this fight with Cecil because he slingshots because he's so far behind in experience, but we're kind of going quickly and we're not too worried about it. Dark Elf. Should be no problem. So we will let Edge throw this. We'll save the Drain Spear for a bit. We won't do anything with Edge. We'll just wait here. And now that me changes there, we can let Fusoya throw a virus and let Kane finish the job. Okie doke. All clean. There's White. That's a very high damage spell for Fusoya, and it's neat for him to have it. And there's the package. If I felt bad about characters, we could go do that. The rat tail is also guaranteed to be a key item. We might check it just to see if the spoon is in there, but we're kind of in a really high power situation. I'm not sure I even want to take the time to do that. So there are 2 more boss slots we could do. The package is one we could also do. I don't want to sit through it, but we can go do the back of Waterfall and we can go do Mist Cave. So we'll go pick both of those up and see where that puts Fusoya. One thing you can use to tell how far Fusoya is, he gets 100 hit points every time he levels, so right now he has 1300. 1900 is where that maxes out. So he's not going to quite be at max, and sometimes Nuke's all the way at the bottom, but again, the more spells, the more power we get good. This is a little time consuming. This is Dr. Lugay and Balnab, but I think we're fast enough that we will just kill them before they can do much. Good job, Edge. And then we let Kane finish the fight here. Edge right now, just to make him a little better. Again, next to no experience here. There's Wall for Fusoya, which is useful, but not what we were after. So next up, we'll go see who the Waterfall boss is. If I was feeling bad about the party, I would probably check the character, but this party is about as good as I'm going to get. Oops, little mistake walking there. This is Baigen, which we should be able to do fairly quickly. We can only cast one spell against this guy in the middle. That's okay. In the meantime, we're going to also get Cecil good and back road right now. Since we can change menu stuff right here, let's put the Dwarf Axe on him, and as long as he takes a turn with it, he is officially back road. Alright, body's down. Good job, Kmain. And good job, Edge. There's Quake on Fu. Great. So Quake is good. It would have probably been better to get Nuke, but that will get us what we want. Alright, so our next stop is going to be up here in Castle Eblin. And we're looking for a couple things, but the big thing is finishing getting Rose capped off at Blink, and then getting some other gear. Alright, so this is the time where I love Kmain. He is usually my guy, but we're going to swap him out for Cecil. And we've got much better gear for Cecil than we do for Kmain. We've got gear to basically handle one of them, but not both of them. So we're going to take all that off of him, and we're going to instead equip up Cecil. Okay, we're also going to swap out this Avenger for... what can we give Kmain? Not a lot right now. Okay. Put the Avenger here. We're going to go ahead and switch Cecil and Kmain. This way Cecil will be anchoring in the middle here. And we're going to save and go for it. So we have a lot of things to help us get through this castle. I like to do the right tower first. That's a personal preference. And I do that because I can do half the chests and then walk out, heal, and save. I'm not trying to do the whole thing in one run. The Drain Sword is a great dart for Edge. Dragoon armor is really good. Artemis bow is really good. We're going to get rid of some garbage right now. I'm not too worried about money, but Spear, Short Sword, Iron, Fireclaw we'll hold on to just in case. This Whistle I probably don't need. Iron I don't need. More Iron I don't need. No Fire Shield. Not going to have Iridia, so I don't need a Blitz Whip. Don't need a Fire Sword. That's pretty worthless. Dragoon Hat's good for Kmain. There's our first monster box. Alright, so these guys are weak to fire, so we'll let Edge hit the 4 guys in the front with Flame, and then we just have to kill the Staleman in the back. And that will be Fusoya's job, which we'll just use Quake to clean up the things. But you'll see that these skeletons are weak to fire, and Edge is actually going to have a casting bonus here because he has got the new dagger on. So this hopefully takes out the skeletons, and then Fusoya finishes off the Staleman. Of the 3 chests in here, this is usually the scariest, because the Staleman in the back puts people to sleep. That's more than enough to one-shot him, and he's dead. We will hope that there's a big prize waiting here for us. Rosa gets 2 levels and gets Berserk. She's getting close to Blink. Zeus Gauntlet. That'll look really nice on Cecil. Let's go ahead and boost his defense a little bit right now. We found Dragoon armor. And we found this Zeus Gauntlet. And Kmain, let's see, you came with a black belt. Very nice. Actually, if he has the black belt, I like Edge, but Edge is kind of going to ride for us. We're going to take that black belt and put it on Cecil. The reason is Cecil's getting his Dragoon resistance from the hat, and this has 5 strength and 5 vitality. So this is going to make Cecil hit extra hard. Since we've been forgetting to do it, let's go ahead and give Rosa this tiara as well. That'll make her a little more survivable. Alright, so Rosa got Berserk, but she doesn't have Blink yet, and that's kind of what we're waiting for. So we'll see if this chest takes us over the top. Alright, these guys are going to be great for Edge to fight because they are mages and therefore are weak to his dagger. Okay, since we have, but there's a better, faster way to kill them, which we're going to let Fusoya try to do, and that's Fusoya can cast Stone. He knows that spell. He might be able to kill them in just one shot. And down goes Rosa, which is going to prevent us from learning Blink if we're not careful, which is probably what's about to happen. Yep, Fusoya hits on the stone. 2 levels for Cecil, 2 for Kmain, and an AG apple. Well, that's not quite what we wanted. We wanted Rosa to do a little better, and she just got walloped in that fight. So, let's bring her back to life. We'll drop some cure potions around to make sure everybody's good. And we're going to go back inside and see if we can get Rosa up to where she knows Blink. Again, we don't panic, we don't reset because the fight didn't go our way. There's usually more chances to get experience out there. So we're going to kind of do this in a pattern that gets us to the chest as fast as we can to try and find where the last group of monsters are. And we are at the inventory boss again. There it is. Beautiful. Okay, this is the Black Cat Lamia chest. This is a little bit of a scary chest. We want to make sure Rosa makes it. And again, we'll use the same trick with Stone and Fusoya. If you really want to make sure Stone hits, you put Fusoya in the middle, but we're counting on Cecil to get his stuff done here. And you'll see that without that, there wasn't quite enough accuracy. So we'll just count on Cecil to do what he needs to get this done. And we'll throw a Cure 2 on Rosa just to make sure there's not like an unlucky crit here that messes us up. Alright, so this may be a little bit more dicey. We'll see how it goes. Cecil didn't kill it, and Cecil got charmed, which puts us at risk. However, Cecil did most of the damage, and I think Kmain will be able to finish it. Okay, Rosa gets a level. Did not get Blink, though. Not to worry. There's a white shirt for Rosa. That's pretty good, too. Okay, so we're in pretty good shape now. Even if we don't have Blink on Rosa, I think we're ready. We have Fusoya, and we have those illusions, and we're up in about the levels I want the characters to be at to do a hook route, which about level 23 is good. And here we are, 22 with Cecil, 27 on Edge, about 23 to 20-ish on these other characters. So, we're not planning to loot much more. We're going to sell our extra stuff and check the item shop, and then we're going to go see how the hook bosses are and if we can get through. Alright, so we're going to get rid of, we know that we don't have to keep much, so we can get rid of all the things we don't plan to use. These cat claws, no good, we're not going to have both of those. Dragoon armor will be good, that goes, no diamond hat, no Ashura, no silver, no sylph. Prisoner gear stinks, don't need silver, this or that. Again, just getting the inventory clear in case we get stuff later in the seed. They have hourglasses, which we'll go ahead and take 3 of those, and they have elixirs, which we'll grab 1 for funsies and a tent. So with that, with those hourglasses, we might just try and grab the Mad Ogres on the way down. Or not the Mad Ogres, the Stalemen. Or the Mad Ogres. Mad Ogres might be a good check for us. But we're just going to grab stuff on the way, and if we fight the Stalemen to get Blink, that's fine. And if not, maybe we find some cool treasure on the way. Defense Sword is a that's an endgame weapon for Kmain, so that's really good. Sammy Armor is good for Edge. Okay, I'm feeling pretty good. And who is that? That is either Mylon Z or Mylon and Friends, and there's Iridia, who is not coming along today. Should have kept that Drain Spear. That would have been a good dart for Edge. Mistake would be to throw it, but kind of got a little bit over anxious. Okay, so at this point, if you know you're about to do the hook route and you had a look at that boss and you've had a chance to think about what's coming up, this is your chance to kind of game plan your party for how you're going to do this. So I will tell you there are 2 extremely fast characters in the party right now, and those characters are Kmain and Edge. And so I want somebody slow to anchor, and that somebody slow is probably going to be Rosa. She's the slowest person in the party. And I'm not what I would call well anchored, but I'm also not too worried about things. I've got a bunch of useful characters. Ideally, you probably take that Rydia, stick her in the center slot, and make her your anchor, and you can get rid of somebody who's probably not going to contribute in this fight. But we're going to be a little bit showy, especially because I think we can handle that Mylon Z without too much trouble. Mylon likes to hit either a little bit physically or else by throwing lightning at you, and with the Dragoon pieces we can put on Kmain and Cecil, we should be pretty well protected with them as damage dealers, and we'll just berserk them through and win the fight, and let Fusoya help us where he can. Alright, so we're going to go to Kmain. He's already backrowed, but we're going to give him this defense sword, and here's a little bit of Dragoon gear to keep him protected during this fight. And that should keep Kmain in pretty good shape for what we're going to do here. For Edge, we're going to give him this samurai stuff since we stole his armor earlier, and that should be fine. We're going to slap Rosa in the center to be our back row person. And I love Kmain, but we're going to put him in the front row because we'd rather keep Fu safe. Last thing we're going to do is we're going to move Fu's spells around a little bit, and we're going to put Quake front and center because that's going to be his bread and butter. So this first boss is going to have about 6,000 hit points. It can be scary because it's going to be really fast. That's why we messed around with our anchor. We put our slowest character in the middle to handle this. And we're just going to try and blaze through this. Okay, so I said 6,000. This is Mom Bomb. It's going to have actually an extra 10,000 health. And it's going to be really hard to deal with a lot of things for that. But Fusoya knows slow, Rosa knows slow. Look how it pasted Kmain. And so we're just going to slow him down as much as we can to try and help out in the fight and give us a little bit more wiggle room to kill the bombs in a minute. But you'll see my characters in the front got pretty well hammered. And we're hoping that it's going to go into explosion form in just a minute here. So we're going to let Fu heal the party to survive this explosion in a second. And then we're going to hopefully get the turn back around to him in a minute so we can cast Quake. Because otherwise the bombs will self-destruct back into the party. So we want to just get Fu through if we can, and then use Quake. There's no experience here, so you don't have to worry about bringing the characters back up. If we'd been a little faster, we could have killed it before it exploded, but I don't think we're that fast. So you wait until it starts changing form into the bombs, and then you wait until you see all 6 cursors flashing. Otherwise, you'll cast it against one of them. But Fu is kind of already queued up. Quake is not quite an instant cast spell, but it goes fast enough, and it's enough to get them, and that should take us through. Again, stopping to do those extra bosses to make sure Fusoya was set up, even though we felt we had all the power in the world with the Avenger Sword and everything else was good. Alright, now normally good practice here is to go and save before you do this fight, but I think we're in really good shape. I'm not too worried about us being able to do this fight, and we're going to go for it. So let's go see if we can get down the hook route. Okay, it's the Flying Mylon Z. Quake will not work against this guy, but he is definitely weak to fire. But we're going to use Virus. Fire 3 would be really good if we had it. We don't. Virus is great because it casts instantly. It's as fast as we can get it out. It'll do a decent amount of damage to him, and it'll kind of start sapping energy away from him as he goes. So we'll go ahead and hit him with Virus. He's got about 25,000 hit points. We're going to throw anything that Edge has to throw, which is not a lot. We got rid of that Drain Spear. And we'll let Kmain go here. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to Berserk Kmain. But that'll let Kmain be... it'll let Kmain do about 50% more damage. In the meantime, we want to keep Rosa alive. And there's Blink here with Fu. So we'll cast Blink on Rosa, which means we don't necessarily have to heal her. He's only going to be doing physical attacks, so we don't have a whole lot else to worry about, and we'll let the Bash Brothers just work their way through this. In the meantime, we want to keep Edge safe too, so we'll grab one of those illusions we found earlier and go to town. Meanwhile, we can get one more Blink up. I think Cecil's in good shape in the back row, but we're going to protect Kmain in the front row so we can get the experience here too. And we'll throw a couple slows in for good measure, and that'll let us hit a little bit harder, but also make Mylon take less actions. We're not going to have Edge swing right now because we don't think Edge does enough damage. His weaponry is just kind of and we'll push through it. But Cecil's doing about 1,000 a clip. That's really good. We can throw in another Virus here with Fu just to keep things moving along. Here's a second slow. And other than that, we're just going to let Fu contribute and make sure we win the fight. That Blink, again, just ate a full hit for Kmain. He just didn't take that much damage, and it's beautiful. Anyway, this is going really well. There's one other trick we could be playing on Mylon Z that we probably should. Fu has one other great spell in his arsenal that will work wonders against this guy. He is an undead monster. He is pretty awful for that reason, and he's weak to cure and holy damage. Fu happened to learn White earlier. The problem with White, it will do a ton of damage, but it is a very, very slow cast. So slow we don't get a chance to play it. Alright, and that, my friends, is the end of Mylon Seed. So, we are almost to the Falcon. We have to go through the pitfall and then walk out of Lower Babel, and we'll complete the seed. And there is, looks like, both Nuke and Berserk for Fusoya. But we're in good shape, we're underground, most of our problems have been solved, we actually have enough experience that Dwarf Castle should be quite comfortable for us, even Top of Tower should be fairly decent for us now, and we can roll. Speaking of which, Top of Tower, if you take 2 steps to the right before you walk down, you can see Dark Imps is our boss on Top of Tower. And that gives you some info about whether you'd like to go check that or not right away, depending on how good or awful the check may be. And here we are. This is the animation for us to launch the Falcon. Let's light up our objective, because we have completed it. The Falcon is launched. And that is the end of the seed. We have successfully completed a hook route. So we're going to take a minute, look at how the box count went, see if we missed anything interesting hiding in the rat tail spot, and then I will probably call it a day on this seed. But that's the basic idea of it. This party handed us just so much power that it was not really much of an issue to do this. And so it felt breezy, it felt really good. Sometimes you'll be a little bit more hard put to it, but we kind of went through all the steps. And I think that that would have been a fight that was even doable without the Fusoya, without the Cecil. If we just had that Kmain in the group earlier that we saw with the Avenger, he would have been able to get through the fight. You just get Blink up on Rosa, and you push through pretty easily. Alright folks, well I'm going to let the credits music play out for a little bit, but my name is Tallgrant. I stream at twitch.tv/Tallgrant. If you'd like to see me play Free Enterprise or hang out or do fun stuff, be happy to have you there. We would love to see you. And of course, you can learn more about Free Enterprise by joining the Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise Discord, which you can reach through ff4fe.com. Thank you guys so much for hanging with me. Have a great evening.